It is Hump Wednesday, everybody. And as you can see to the right of me, my co host AD is not with me today. He had some other pressing obligations, but we wish him well in spirits.
He's still celebrating that Cowboy victory. That's what he's doing.
Did you really have to rub that in?
Of course.
Why? Why did you even have to mention that? Oh, my God.
The ass whooping, as everyone would like to call it here in the DMV.
You starting shit already, Brian. I swear. I had a rough day. Anywho. But yes, he's with us in spirit. As you can see, my super producer, Brian, is always with me.
Y'all. Hi, y'all. As I'm flipping channels here on Pluto TV. But anyway. So how's, as you like to say, how's your week been? As you're saying, it's been difficult.
As you can tell by the fact that I poured this drink.
Yeah, literally on air. Shoot,
Lord have mercy.
I'm surprised you didn't take it to the head.
No, I ain't that brave. I'm not that brave. It's just been a long week, for real. I mean, some people can probably hear it in my voice today. Mm-hmm. And others, you probably know my pain right now. So, yeah. It's been one of those weeks. So I don't want to go too far into it because I wanted to kind of discuss if you all watched the Revolt Summit a few days ago where the panel, they had about 6 people on the panel.
I see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6.
6 people on the panel.
Jeff Johnson was to moderate.
He tried. Lord knows he tried.
It's been a bit good. Like when I saw it, it was like, damn, it's been a while since I've seen this boy. Because last time I remember, he had dreads and everything.
I know, right? So. But it was an interesting panel. If you all have not seen it, please go watch it. It's on YouTube. It's about 1 hour and 18 minutes, but it is a lot of information to.
I'll show him. Here's a little snippet of.
So.
Let's show him a little snippet.
Okay.
Has normally been the places where gentrification starts first.
Okay, that was my point. I had a question for both of you young ladies, and you and Candace, we spoke many times, and you're a brilliant young lady. But my question to you is, how is it that you can support yourself? I mean, that you can support and align with a constituency that will not denounce white supremacy. So that means your son or daughter or or any of your brothers or any of your family members, if they are caught out there by a policeman who is in a covert, undercover white supremacist and get gunned down, this constituency will have absolutely nothing to say about it.
Please let me answer this question. Please let me answer this question.
And we can't, and although what you're saying is a lot of the things that you're saying are absolutely factual, a lot of the things that you're saying have merit, but I can't even get to that before I address the disregard for young black lives.
I love it.
You will not speak up on it at
all. This question I will address.
Ooh, child. That panel was... the shade on that panel was real. Now, I will say this. She made a lot of valid points, but howsoever, I feel like everybody on that panel, honestly, I wish you would have put it at the clip where Killer Mike kind of shut all that down.
Well, okay.
That was the best clip where he kind of shut all of it down.
Okay, let's see. Well, let me find it. Here's my viewpoint, and it kind of like, because this was featured also on yesterday's show on the Money Zone, which is on Tuesday nights at this same time, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights. But I viewed it as, I don't think Killer Mike, based off of what he was trying to put out there, I know he was trying to say, hey, support yourself. You got to put your money out there, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's like, hey, we got to create this black economy and things like that nature. Velocity on the Money Zone pointed out the fact of, this is how you make an economy.
Okay.
And she pointed out like seven tiers. And the two things that stood out to me was a physical policy and the trade policy, which normally nations do. Mm-hmm. Where in the world are you trying to get yourself? You're pretty much trying to create a nation if you're trying to create an economy.
I mean, are we not one?
United States of America. What he's trying to say,
yes.
No, we are just
but
people.
That's what we need to get to, right or wrong.
So pretty much you're trying to separate yourself. Again, he's thinking of separation. Then, which a lot of people, which I still have a problem.
No, because if you don't remember, first of all, I like your shirt. I'm not gonna lie, I love that.
Yes, y'all can buy other people. Future WWE champion.
What he did say at the beginning of the summit was that he is a proud American. He didn't say he was a proud Black American. He said he is a proud American. And honestly, most of the perspective that he spoke from is from what he sees within his community, within his state, within his city that he lives in. Granted. But the fact of the matter is, why is it that we cannot form our own nation? We've been separate from America for quite some time.
Okay, mentally we have, well, let's say some of us, I'm not saying all, have mentally separated ourselves from the United States of America based off of certain things that have taken place within the last 3 years, or is what's taken place within the last 20 with, if you said the prior Obama administration.
Right, I get that.
But the thing is like, what you're trying to set up is something where I feel is not happening. It just, and I felt like it's like, if you're trying
to... It's not, but that's the point that he's trying to make. It's not happening.
Yeah, but the thing is like, if you're trying to make this happen, it's not going to work. And I think that's where I feel like this summit it's good. And I kind of agree with Candace saying is everyone's getting all the claps and the hoop-hops and all that. What we should do, but let's put the realism into it.
And I get that, and that's why I say a lot of things that she said during the time of the summit were factual. Like, you can actually go online and Google a lot of things that she said. Howsomever,
she came across very like T.I. said, came in with some bullshit.
She did. And honestly, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So my thing is not what you're saying, it's how you're delivering it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, here's Killer Mike. Here's what Killer Mike had to say. So, as we hear the church goers.
Yes.
What y'all are seeing right now are free people arguing over who got the best master. Oh yeah. So, we're going to go back to silent. Let's register this shit back down. We're going to lock this back down. So, I'll tell you when America was great. 7 years after the ending of the Civil War.
Exactly what
Candace, because you didn't give the comment, so you weren't prepared for that one. No, but that's not to jump on Candace, because again, I'm disagreeing with my friend. 7 years after the end of Civil War, Blacks within 7 to 15 years accumulated over 15 million acres of land. Hold on, before we get to clapping, because the niggas bought some shit. Black people were the only skilled labor in there. So if it was welding to be done, iron bending, cotton picking, it was black people. So instantly, your value became more. And Candace has a point. The point that she made about illegal immigration affecting you is that it's going to affect you at some point. Why? If the Kegel Chicken Factory is hiring illegal immigrants at an undercut on the rate, it affects the black people who live there who should be demanding $20 an hour because they're being undercut. So when they get wiped out, they have to hire blacks, pay them, and unionize. So she's right on that. But hold the fuck on, I'm not finished. You have to remember that people who look like you immigrate too. So before you widely say, fuck them all, remember, America is always going to have a slave class.
And there you have it. But he also continues on. But
on and on and on.
Right. So I'm going to tell everybody, if you did not see the Revolt Summit, please take a look at it. It is definitely on YouTube. It's an hour 18 minutes. It's very, I'm not going to say educational. It's very informative. because he threw out some.
Listen, everybody that was on that panel, I think they had their moments.
Yeah,
it
they
was
did have their
to me.
moments.
To me, it was just. Here's my thing, and I said this to some people who went to. I've been to the Congressional Black Congress a couple of times, and I leave there with this, with questions. It's like, okay, what do we do from after this? And that's what that was. It was something where he's like, okay. I saw like when they did the Q&A part, and I saw one dude. He's still trying to sell T.I. how to get a record deal type of shit.
Yo, that was like.
That was the dumbest thing.
Like, seriously, dude? You don't have nothing to say about the topics at hand today. You trying to get your album heard.
Nigger's gonna nig. That's what it was. So, but anyway, the point from there is, to me, is like, look, it's a good venture. A lot of well-educated people on there and all that stuff, but I'm left with, it's like, okay, what's next? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like...
But you know what? I got that. Because the thing is, we do need a path, and we do need some changes. And we do need a game plan. I will agree with that. But it's going to take everybody on that panel and some to put that together and lay that foundation. Right or wrong?
Right.
Okay.
So, anyway. But
we can agree on that.
Yes, we can agree on that. But here's something else we can agree on. Fashion Victual News. So.
All right. So, everybody, we're going to take this quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get right into Fashion Victual News right here on Fashion Victuals Radio. Welcome back to Fashion Victuals right here on RipRadioNetwork.com. We are about to... Hey, I know, right? We're about to jump right here into Fashion Victual News. And, Brian, some of them topics looked a little funny to me.
Of course! That's how I do it. So
I know. So which one we starting with?
All right, first off is driving into debt. Literally.
Driving into debt. Okay. Why the hell would I want to do that to myself?
Well, think about it as a company. So, in a recent New York Post article, former Ford's model VP of Operation Josie Neuron stated that Ford's model chairman Gerald Banks, whose real name we found out is Jermaine Elvey, A-L-I-E-D, burned his way through company funds to the point where the agency was $8 million in debt.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Let me rephrase that again. Let's rack that up. Okay. In a recent New York Post article, former Ford's model Vice President of Operations Josie Neuron stated that Ford's model chairman Gerald Banks, a.k.a. Jermaine Alvey, burned his way through company funds to the point where the agency was in $8 million in debt. Neuron said by November 2018, to 2018, I believe, this is a quote, I believe bank spending and accounting management placed Ford in financial distress as Ford did not have enough cash reserves to pay models, the IRS, suppliers, rent, and payroll. But earlier this summer, Neuron was let go and sued by the agency when they found out that she lied about her husband's illness to get out of her contract and head over to a rival company. But Neuron states that the reason for leaving Ford was because she found out that Banks and Ford model owner Vladimir Putin has
Putin. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, but they have ties to Vladimir Putin, the Russian president.
Lord have mercy.
So that is story number one. So any mild comments about that?
None whatsoever.
So
you reap what you sow.
Right. Well, here's some mild good.
You definitely. Oh yes, yeah. The one inclusive size.
Yes, inclusive size. So during their show at New York Fashion Week, D&G, Dolce & Gabbana, mentioned that their clothes will be now expanding to a size 18. They are the first luxury house to do so.
Okay, Dolce & Gabbana.
Yes, the designers have featured curvy beauties before, including notable Ashley Graham and Tess Holliday in their past campaigns and runway shows. Co-founder Stefano Gabbana stated that we have always been interested in authentic women without confronting to any rules.
I know that's right.
Beauty is not a matter of size. It can't be measured in centimeters. For those of you, that's the European version of measurement. And it is instead a state of mind.
I know that's right.
Therefore, it was a natural choice to extend our sizing range.
I know that's right.
So, yeah. So there's going to be love for the big girl.
Kudos to Dolce & Gabbana. Kudos. Because it's so many, and what I like to call them, voluptuous vixens, out here who want to wear these high-end clothing, but they don't have anything for them. So kudos to Dolce & Gabbana. They kind of been under the radar for quite some time now, you know, because you've seen a whole lot of high-end names that's been in the media for some things, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But they've been out of the weeds, so kudos to them. I'm actually happy to see that. Definitely happy to see that.
All right. Now the last story, you're gonna love this one.
Yeah.
This is an So, so we know that this past New York Fashion Week had a lot of political statements. You know, anti-Trump designs, climate change awareness.
Oh my!
And
look at that sign. Can't say American without the Rican.
Yeah, and some gun violence awareness. I believe what this kind of company did. So this group called Bestroy, that's BSTROY, co-founders Brick Owens and Dieter Grams sent models down the runway in hoodies that read the high school and colleges that were infamously known for mass shootings. Most notably, the hoodies had bullet holes.
What?
Throughout the clothing.
Lord have mercy.
Now, what kind of response do you think they received?
What the hell?
Well,
what? Wow. Why?
Well, here's one comment. I'll give you one comment. One comment stated this: people who say they need this are the ones who cried about Gucci's blackface and Burberry's noose. Shit's lame. It is continued now. Here's the thing. The designers handed out a quote-unquote disclaimer for their project that reads this. Even though you can't read it there, I'll state this. We are reminded, sometimes life can be painfully ironic, like the irony of dying violently in a place you consider to be safe, controlled environment like schools. It continues reading, we are reminded all the time of life's fragility, shortness, and unpredictability. Yet we are also reminded of its infinite potential. It is this push and pull that creates the circular motion that is the cycle of life. Nirvana is the goal we hope to reach through, as we turn the page, meditation and healthy practices that counter our destructive habits. Samsara is the cycle we must transcend to reach nirvana. This is some bullshit. That was some bullshit clothes. If you ever see any of the pictures anywhere online and see the reactions of the people who were watching it, because it was pretty much the whole show was in pretty much a hole in the wall. I literally was like, are you fucking kidding me? Literally was saying that. It's like, come on.
Okay, so can I just say some people go too far? Can I say that?
This is too far.
This is way too far. Like, seriously? I don't honestly, regardless of what the hell it stands for, if I'm going to a fashion show, this is not some shit I want to see. Like, don't. Like, I understand you're trying to make a political statement against whatever is going on in the world right now. We're not going to get into it. Howsoever, I think it's too far. It's too much. It's too much. I just,
I mean, the thing is like those guys. I mean, I can understand you're trying to have, you're expressing yourself. You're trying to, again, quote unquote, as the topic of today, expand your brand. But if you're expanding your brand to a point where it's like, look, we've gone through a lot of tragedy. It's just like, if you think
Agreed.
about,
I totally
it's
agree.
just like, hey, if you're trying to like sell some jewelry of the fallen pieces from the state building. I mean, the Twin Towers, and it's just like, hey, yeah, this is a amulet from the Twin Towers. It's like, say what? I don't want that.
I know.
I don't want that on my conscience. Now, here's the other sad part. Let me ask you this: how would you feel if you modeled this?
I wouldn't. As a model, I can pick and choose what I want. Granted, if that caused controversy on the runway, but I at least have like some type of dignity. Like, I'm not putting that shit on. I'm not. There's no way in 4 hells I'd do that shit. I may have lost the money. I might have lost a little change, but
I gotta feel sorry for the guys who wore that shit.
I do too.
Because I mean that's what you want to put that on your resume, but really it's just like, come on.
That wouldn't go on my resume. No. that brand.
Think about it. It's like you go to the next Fashion Week show and it's like
that brand just
like,
wouldn't be.
Didn't I see you this?
Nah,
no, man, that wasn't me.
That shit would not be on my goddamn resume. It wouldn't. I mean, why would I put that shit on my resume? And we're like, yeah. I wore one of the sweatshirts with the bulletproof holes that said Virginia Tech on it. Why? Why? Anyway,
that's Fast Victual News.
This has been an eventful day, I tell you. All right, everybody, we have a special guest in the building, and when we come back, we're going to sit down with Miss Katrina Johnson. We're going to talk about expanding your brand right here on Fashion Victuals Radio. Welcome, everybody, back to Fashion Victuals Radio right here on RipRadioNetwork.com. As you can see, I have somebody to the right of me.
Hello.
This is makeup artist extraordinaire, Miss Katrina Johnson. And she is here. Wait, I hear an echo, Brian. I hear an echo. And she's here to talk about how we as people and in the business industry can expand our brand. I got the disco music in my ear.
I do too.
There we go.
All right.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's very loud.
Turn it down there.
No, it's loud. It's not background music. It's like I'm in a club and I'm trying to talk to her.
Party too. But
Hey, how you doing?
That's what it sounds like right now. Thank you, Brian. I can hear now. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you today?
I'm wonderful.
Great.
So, I got questions.
You too.
First of all, let's start with what you have currently going on. You are a makeup artist. You have your own business. And how did you get into being a makeup artist?
Okay. Well, it started with me. In college, I started to take a liking to makeup. I didn't actually do anybody's makeup, but I actually when I would actually see, people doing their makeup for the club before we went out, I was like, oh, this is pretty, And so I started, getting into it, looking at it a little bit more, researching. And then actually when I left college, I decided that I would take part in some projects.
Okay.
So just to kind of see, how I felt working with different people. So I did that. Then I started taking some classes. Then I started getting some clients. And then it just kind of, went from there.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in this industry?
I've been, I would say, about 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the topic at hand is expanding your brand.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
What are some of the key things that you did to expand yourself and your brand when going into this industry?
Okay, well, I would say I just recently expanded into the clothing.
Okay.
So I would say that it first started with me just being aware, being around a lot of different people, and really kind of noticing one common thing, which was, really just noticing that so many different people love beauty. but they were specific about it.
Right.
And they were unapologetic. And I was like, this is really cool, Right. I was like, wouldn't it be really cool if there was a clothing line that, had all this, the cute little slogans and different things where people could really express themselves. And so that's really where it came from. It's just me kind of being aware of, that, and then also the opportunity to be able to say, okay, I think I'm in a place where I can do a little bit more and expand. I don't have to necessarily put so much just into the makeup part. I can do a little bit more now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the key things that you think people can take from you currently if they're trying to expand their brand now?
Okay. First, research.
Absolutely.
And then be organized.
Okay.
Because if you're not, it's not that you can't get there, but it might be a little bit of a harder road. Just organize everything and plan.
Okay.
I would say with the clothing part, I think I just kind of went back and forth with ideas probably for about a little over a year.
Oh, wow.
And
it just... That's a different beast.
Yes. But it was kind of cool because when I actually started doing it and putting actions into place, I feel like I actually was moving a little bit faster because I knew exactly what I wanted.
Correct.
As opposed to, well, I don't know, we'll see. It really just kind of like not smooth sailing.
Gotcha.
But it was, consistent.
Okay.
I felt like it was that helped for me to do that. Then also, I would say just kind of like networking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's always all these different projects and things I did. In the beginning when I was trying to be a makeup artist, I'm starting to see that come into play now as far as the people that I worked with. I'm actually starting to reach out to some of them, or maybe they noticed different things that I did, and it was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so your line is called Modern-ish.
Yes.
What is the story behind the name?
Oh, okay. So the name, so it's a polite way of saying modern. Always leave the blank. But we're not actually saying the word. We're actually kind of playing on the name.
Okay.
And just because the brand is actually a really fun, playful, creative brand.
Okay.
And so basically, it's kind of like that positive interruption into the beauty industry.
Yes.
Where basically we're saying, okay, you know what? We're here. We're more than what the beauty industry, this box they put us in all these years.
Absolutely.
We're hair, we're nails, we're this, we're that, we're brows, we're all kinds of things. And that's pretty much what the name is about.
Okay. And with Fashion Week going on right now, currently, where do you see your brand fitting in with certain genres of the fashion industry?
That's a really great question. You know what? That actually makes me think because I hadn't even really thought of the Fashion Week level yet. Okay. So that's actually kind of really cool. But I think that in terms of me doing that, like with the clothing, I do have a lot of different logo pieces. I'm playing with a lot of different things right now just to kind of get the brand recognition going. But I absolutely see myself being kind of one of those all-inclusive. It kind of reminds me of that whole Dolce & Gabbana.
I know, that's right.
News aspect, because I really want the brand to be really approachable, really inclusive. And so, different sizes, different looks, and just really creative. So I definitely see it fitting somewhere into that whole genre.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what else can you tell us about branding and expanding your brand?
Okay.
What is something that, better yet, with the way that social media is today, branding I know is important. But at the end of the day, I feel like with branding and social media can be shut down like that. I think like a few months ago, Instagram was shut down for like an hour or 2 hours.
Was it an hour? Oh, God.
People felt like it was forever. It
seemed like it.
So what are some other aspects that you think people can take as far as branding themselves outside of social media?
I would say actually just kind of the look and feel of your brand.
Okay.
So I was kind of really specific with the person that was helping me with my logo, because I was like, I just wanted to stand out. And then just even the way he kind of put the words to get the letters together. He did it in such a way where the ish stood out. And so that's another thing, too, even with like the clothing. Right now, I'm really playing off of the word ish. And so that's kind of my way of brand recognition, because I feel like, okay, well, people can kind of, put that back to, okay, the modern-ish thing, and then it's beauty. So I'm playing with the ish and then beauty. But I would say, yes, definitely the look and feel of it. Whether it's certain colors that you're going with, I think it gets down right to the basics.
Okay.
I would say even just kind of what makes you feel a certain way when you're thinking about your brand. Just getting really detailed with it. And I think if you do that outside of social media, outside of people actually even seeing that your name is attached to it, people can really start to see, you know what, I think that might be their brand I saw.
Exactly.
When you just attach different things like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Okay, so what are some other tips that you can give somebody, especially not just to say in the clothing industry or in the makeup industry, but just if somebody's out there and they're trying to start their own, what are some of the tips that you think that you can help them with that you may have had troubles with and you kind of learned along the way?
Okay, I would say time management.
Isn't that for everybody?
Yes. And also,
hey, black folk, that CP time gotta go.
Oh yeah, and just even being able to plan out the day so that I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. But that's like a really big one right there. You can't accomplish everything you want to accomplish in one day.
Absolutely.
So not even being too hard on yourself, even something like that. I know I would try to do all these things, and I'm like, no, but I had this whole list. It has to be done today. Well, really it doesn't. It does not. Actually, what you need to do is get some rest so that you can be productive for the next day.
Absolutely.
And so that's actually a part of time management. It's really just kind of, understanding what can fit in that day, being productive about it, and then, getting whatever else you're going to get done the day after.
Okay.
I would say that. And then also just really being good with saving and conserving your money. Preserving your money. Yes. There's a lot of things, you do. You have a lifestyle you like for yourself. And that's all well and good. But when you're starting a business, some of those things have to get put to the side.
Unfortunately.
Yes. So it's just kind of like really being able to do that.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend people really, staying on top of that. And also, like back to the network thing, continuing to get contacts, and just meeting people, and then being open. I think a lot of times you put deadlines. Well, I know I put deadlines on myself, and they didn't necessarily work out quite like I wanted.
Right.
And I think I was able to really pull it back in and say, okay, but it's not like you can't do it. It's okay. But that actually, I would give that advice to people as well, just be open, because things are just not going to work out the way you want them to, and even people that you work with, that you need services from, they may not do something when you need it. Yep. So you just have to be really open.
So you're local. You're right here in the DMV area. How do you feel about fashion here in the DMV if somebody is trying to start their own line of clothing?
I think the DMV is kind of, it's a really creative place. It really is. I would like to see more out there. Just in the U.S., just overall, just like nationwide, I would like to see our stuff out there a little bit more. But I think that definitely, and I think anybody could, but specifically for people who maybe have something a little bit different or eclectic, I think that DC is really good with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that with the fact that we're so diverse and we're so open-minded and there's so much, like, it's literally so much talent right here.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're like this big. This big. But it's so much talent within that little area. And I think that it's so hard to, well, from my perspective, sometimes it's a little hard to brand yourself in the area because I guess it depends on, like you said, networking and where your social circles lie. But then it's like, I've seen so many people like blow up in this area, you know? So it's kind of like hit or miss. And I'm just glad to see, like, with this day and age, like, it's way more easier than it is back in the day than when I was younger and I ain't have all this. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have social media and stuff.
I just thought about that. It's so much easier.
It's so much easier,
really
right? And and again, like with your brand, I think it's phenomenal. Like it is. I love the name.
Much.
I really love the name. Like I was like, okay, that's creative. I like that. But what do you plan on? What is your future plans for expanding the brand of Modernish?
Well, right now I'm thinking about in the near future cosmetics.
Okay.
And definitely just anything where I can actually be the beauty lover's voice.
Okay.
I really that's something I really, really want for the brand. And that's why I really love those whole personal conversations with people when I meet them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, just anything where I can really make it so that I'm actually speaking for that voice and I'm being that voice. But right now, I think it would just mainly be the cosmetics.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So.
Shoot.
So yeah.
Okay, so is there a reason? So both you have cosmetics and you have the line. So what came first?
So I would say, well, the cosmetics is just gonna be something that I will do in the future. I really haven't.
So you haven't gotten into that.
My feet wet with that at all. Done a lot of research.
Okay.
But I really haven't done any actual. I haven't had any action when it's come to the cosmetics. Just a lot of planning.
Gotcha.
Researching, of course.
Gotcha. Now, is there a reason why you did the clothing before the cosmetic line?
Actually, I think it's just because I really wanted to show that voice.
Okay.
And so I would always think of different things, cute little things, like when I would do people's makeup or different things people would say. And I think that just actually was my way of actually showing.
Okay.
And for people to, visualizing exactly what I was trying to do.
Right.
So that's why that came first.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, let's see. What other questions can I ask? Actually, I'm going to let you go ahead and take the floor and give people advice on what you think is necessary for them when going into the industry or any type of business industry for that matter.
Okay. So, and they're mainly just pretty much everything I was really kind of saying before. Those are like really key things right there. Just getting the money right. Lots of planning and research.
Amen.
Contacts, relationships, and also I would say that time management. Please get that right. So, those would be the main things I would definitely say. Definitely would say.
Okay. So with time management, a lot of people have careers, they have kids, kids got activities, they're married. So how do you think, like a person with all that going on, and I'm not going to say just females because males got a lot going on too,
right?
How do you say somebody should manage their time when they have so much going on in the household?
That is actually a really, really good question. I think it just comes down to being able to do whatever you can do. So whether it's almost kind of like working out.
I know,
like
that's
if
right.
it's 10 minutes a day, if it's 20 minutes a day, if it's an hour a day.
It's something.
It's something.
Right.
Even if you're just making some phone calls, even if you just kind of look something up and put a calendar together.
Okay.
Whatever it is you can do, just do it.
Gotcha.
Because that is eventually going to basically add up, and it's going to come together for you, and you'll be able to get things done. And then you won't feel so overwhelmed like that either, because then you're not waiting till the last minute. Maybe you had something to do, or maybe you have some type of event. You don't want to wait until that night before.
Girl.
So yeah,
I'm a procrastinator.
I can be too.
Lord knows.
That's why I said that's one of my number one.
Oh my God.
My number one things I would say.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think that when you come home and you just had a long day, the last thing you want to do is put your eyes on a notebook and a computer, and
but that drive is gonna push you. Like if you're really like,
I need a boost. That's what it is.
Maybe that too. A little bit of that too.
Right.
But yeah, that just take that drive and that passion and just push right past.
Push it back.
Yeah, because when you think about where you'll be a few years from now, you'll be so happy that you did. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
It takes these moments like this where you're like, okay, I still gotta come home and do this. I'm tired. But yeah.
Now I'm not okay. So I follow like a couple women in the hair industry and some in the fashion industry who have like this huge following, and to hear some of their testimonies and their stories, especially like you said, like a year from now, 2 years from now, like literally I've seen before my eyes people blow up within a 3 to 5 year span. And honestly, we think that's like short as hell, but when you're trying to put your business together, it's long. It feels like, Lord, it feels like a prison sentence.
Doesn't it? It just seems so long. But felt like it was 3 years. It felt like about 10 to me. It does
exactly.
Feel like that.
So with your 5 year span, especially being in the makeup industry, do you feel like it's been like one of those things where it took so long to get here, or it's like, whew,
kind of?
I feel like it just went by fast.
It actually does kind of feel like it's been a while. Like it's been longer than that.
Really?
Yeah, I guess it's like you said, the work behind the scenes
Absolutely.
that you're doing. But it's never quite feels like work to me.
Because it's something you're passionate about.
So it's always like, I'm happy to do it.
Gotcha.
So even that last little bit of energy, not even to sound corny, but real. Like even that last little bit of energy, sometimes I'm like, I can do this. I got this.
So let me ask you, because now I'm going to speak from my experience, okay? Love my family. I love y'all dearly. But I got to put y'all on blast. Okay, so my family has been driving me to do something. And although I love to do it, and I'm passionate about it, and I don't mind doing it, but I feel like my little support system is like, you need to do this. You need to do this. You could have done that hat. You should have had that done last year. You know what I'm saying? So how do you kind of tune out those people around you, even though they're driving you, but it's like, it's kind of like, it's noise. It's background noise. How do you tune that out?
I think you do just that. I think you tune it out. Because the reason why I say that is because you will be surprised when you actually start getting things together, and when you start and they start seeing things come together. You'll be surprised who starts coming around, and it's not even that. It's not even that it's any type of nothing malicious or anything like that. It's more so of people process different ways.
That is true.
And so
that is true.
If it's something, maybe it's something that they have to actually see first before they can actually understand exactly what it is you're dealing with.
Right.
Because then it might be like, well, why are you doing this? Or you should do it like that. And you're like, but I'm trying.
Lord, and yes, they start critiquing.
Yeah,
Lord Jesus, no one knows.
And then that actually might be their way of helping you too, and they're really just trying to help you. So I think,
girl, they critiquing. It's like, no, I'm just
yeah. So it's that too. But I think that with that being said, I think that's the best way to do it is just to turn it out, tune it out, because I think that later on it'll come together.
Well, I thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So can you give everybody your social media handles and where they can find you?
Okay, so my makeup name is Instagram name is really long. It's at Modern Makeup Artistry, and then also the Instagram clothing is at Modernish Clothing, and I am on Facebook, Modernish Clothing, And also Twitter at ish_modern. Yes, and my website is www.modern-ish.com.
Awesome. So everybody who is on Facebook, Instagram, and Lord, Brian, help me out here. iHeartRadio. Please check this out tomorrow on YouTube. Get all the information. Again, thank you so much for coming in today.
Much for having me. Yes.
And we will see you all next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Same bat time, same back channel.
Going to the underground.
What?
Next week's the underground.
I can't hear nothing. You got me. What?
Just say bye.
Peace, everybody.